Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Bhashit Visadarine. I'd like to offer my humble obeisances to all of you, His Grace Pratapna Prabhu and His Grace Bhavananda Prabhu and Her Grace Prasuti Mataji, including all the Vaishnavas. So today is Srila Prabhupada's Disappearance Day, and yes, in Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya we always say that we need to celebrate the departure, but I'm not able to yet. So, but I'm not alone. I've been reading few offerings from last couple of days, and every single offerings, all I can hear and feel is every single of those offerings have so much emotions and so much pain, and we all miss Srila Prabhupada regardless. How much ever he has said, he's always going to be with us. He's with us in his books. And he's with us in his teachings and his instructions. And we can see so much more has happened after he's gone. And he's still present with us. We can still go and talk to him. And we can still get his reciprocation. And he's still guiding us. In one of the offerings, His Holiness Indradumna Maharaj just shared. He was explaining Indradumna Maharaj. So I have a letter that he was actually reading. So in that letter he was sharing, Srila Prabhupada once mentioned while it was his time to departure, and he mentioned to devotees, his disciples around, I am an old man and you should not lament, because it's natural. It's sure that I'm leaving, but I'm never going to go. I'll be alive in my books. But how are we going to communicate with you, Srila Prabhupada? That was the question one of the disciples asked. And Srila Prabhupada said, I'm going to come in your dreams. And Indradumna Maharaj was mentioning he actually saw Srila Prabhupada in his dreams so many times. Whenever he was looking for some instructions or whenever he needed some guidance, Srila Prabhupada would come and guide him. And similar experiences are there with so many other devotees who have actually begged Srila Prabhupada to guide them in certain situations, and he does come in our dreams. And so everything becomes clear after that. And more than that, his books are there. Whenever we read his books, every time we feel that he's actually talking to me. And even the quotes, that's the habit I developed as a child, that I was instructed by my seniors to read Srila Prabhupada's quotes every day. So whenever I try to find one quote and read, it just feels like that's the quote I needed to hear that day. And I'm able to pass on that day reading his quotes. So before I start the program, there's one very sweet pastime I would like to share. And it's the pastime explained by Sripad Hridayananda Babaji Maharaj from Radhakund. And it's a very heart-touching pastime that we can start today glorifying Srila Prabhupada. So he was born, he was born in Radhakund and has been a pujari for 78 years. He lives next to Radha Damodar temple. At the beginning of the interview, upon being asked if he knew Srila Prabhupada, Babaji Maharaj began to cry. Never have I seen anyone do sadhana like he did. I have lived all my life in Vraja. I have never seen anyone like him. Prabhupada did many things. He worked very hard there at Radha Damodar temple. At that time, it was austere, undeveloped, and very muddy and dirty with no facilities. Many years later, when I heard that it was actually he who had been chosen by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to spread the Hare Krishna Mahamantra around the world, I was not surprised. Prabhupada spread this Krishna consciousness by the mercy of Rupa Goswami. Prabhupada used to pray to Rupa Goswami, "You please give me your mercy." And then he got the mercy. I know this because I saw some things he did at Radha Damodar temple. My room is still locked in the same place as it was then in 1964 and 65. Many times in the middle of the night, at midnight, or 1 or 2 in the morning, I would hear a voice. crying from inside the courtyard by Rupa Goswami's Samadhi Mandir. That voice was calling out and crying, but I did not know what it was because I was trying to take rest. But one night on the full moon, I heard that voice again. So I climbed up to the roof of our house and looked down into the Radha Damodar courtyard. I saw something very, very amazing. Srila Prabhupada was sweeping the courtyard of Rupa Goswami's Samadhi. He was bending down with a small broom, and as he swept the ground by the Samadhi, he was crying out, Hey Rupa, Hey Sanatana, Hey Gurudev, please give me your mercy. Without your mercy, I cannot do anything. Give me the mercy, give me the strength that I may fulfill your orders. Then I realized that it was he who almost every night was calling out as he was sweeping like this. All glories to His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. And it's from the article Our Srila Prabhupada, A Friend to All by Mula Prakriti Devidas Singh. Mula Prakriti, he compiled it for, yeah. So that was very sweet pastime. So that's how much he cried, just to come all the way here and give us Krishna consciousness so that we all can live a better life, better than animals. So that we know how to live like humans now. We can at least chant the holy name only by His grace. So this, so that was the sweet pastime. So I would like to, without any delay, I would like to invite, no, I was just asking the order for him. So I would like to invite His Grace Bhavananda Prabhu to share Srila Prabhupada's. Yeah? So.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Can you hear me? Yes. Thank you, Mataji, for your nice introduction to this glorious day, Prabhupada's Disappearance Day. If I may caution you in one area of what you said, that yes, Prabhupada can appear to us in dreams, but we should be very, very careful and not perform our devotional service on the strength of a dream, but rather we should perform our devotional service on the strength of realization that each of us has understood of about Krishna consciousness from Prabhupada's purports. Dreams come and go, who can remember, right? That dream is ephemeral, and a week from now you won't remember, or you'll remember it in another way, but nothing can beat a book in your hand. When we were telling Prabhupada, oh, we should do the television, and then Prabhupada said, nothing is better than a book in your hand. So dreams are nice, but a book, Prabhupada's book, Prabhupada's purports are better. Because that doesn't change, hopefully. Hopefully. But anyway, Kali Yuga, what can you do? So a very auspicious day. I remember looking at the cloth behind Prabhupada is white and yellow in 1970, when we moved into the Watsika Avenue temple, Prabhupada was designing the temple room. There was just a few of us, Karanda, Jayananda, and me, and Prabhupada's secretary, and what was his name? Devananda, and Prabhupada living there. And I asked Prabhupada, what color should we paint the walls of the temple? He said, white or yellow? He said, temples should be white or yellow. He said, the colors of goodness. So that's nice. Om Gyanati Mirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshura Militam Jaina Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Namo Om Vishnu Padai Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishe Shunyavani Paskatya Desatarine. It's been my good fortune to study as best I can the Chaitanya Charitamrita. This is something I've been doing lately because, admittedly, I've never given Chaitanya Mahaprabhu the same recognition, I guess, that I've always given to Radha and Krishna. For some reason, Radha and Krishna, the deity of Radha and Krishna, I accept that as, but that God himself was here only 500 years ago. It's a hard one for me. This is my own understanding. I've never quite accepted it. That he is actually God. I accept that Henry VIII was here 500 years ago, and Elizabeth I, and so many Western personalities, but for some reason, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So I picked up the first volume, is it volume 1? Adi Leela volume 1. And I wanted to find the Shastric evidence for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that he's actually God. And I found it. Everything is there. I was amazed. I had read the Chaitanya Charitamrita several times over the years, but I never, am I looking this way? You have to see your audience. I never realized what I'm reading. Have you ever had that? Where you read something, the next sentence you forget what you just read, you have to go back. What to speak of dreams. By the time I finish brushing my teeth, because I have many dreams of Prabhupada, and they're really, some of them are comfort. However, I did have a dream last night about Prabhupada, and it was a really anxiety-provoking dream, because in the dream I was busy talking to some young men and women, and then I looked at my watch and I realized Prabhupada had already arrived at the temple and I missed the whole thing. And he was angry at me. He was not happy. So in this Adi Leela, the purports, Prabhupada's purports are just astounding, mind-boggling. So now I'm convinced, my dear Lord and Master, that Mahaprabhu is Krishna, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Lahiyanda. I accept it. So this message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was carried to the world, the whole world, including India. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he had some recognition outside of Orissa and Bengal. There's some recognition in South India, but not recognition really as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, really. And people didn't chant Hare Krishna so much, except of course in Vrindavan. But Prabhupada carried this message of who Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was to the entire world, including India. Now, of course, in India, there are tens of thousands and hundreds and thousands and millions of people who by their very birth and nature are religious, who are now coming to accept Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as the self-same Lord Krishna. So that's all due to the preaching endeavors of Mahaprabhu's personal associate and staunch devotee, Srila Prabhupada. He gave us everything that we need. Not that we want, but what we need. He gave that to both men and women, and children, and animals, and everyone. What is that? Even a child and even a dog, Prabhupada said. Right? Can chant Hare Krishna, yes. Even a dog. So it's there for everyone. And the main crux is the Bhaktivedanta purpose. I know I harp on this, I guess, a lot, but it's very important. It's the essence of the Krishna conscious movement. It's the essence. He reasons ill who thinks that Vaishnavas die, for thou art living still in sound. The Vaishnav dies to live, and living spreads the holy name around. Sweet, sweet poem by Bhaktivedanta Thakur. Very sweet. And the essence. Prabhupada does not die. Talking of dreams, I'll tell you another little story. I don't take this dream very seriously, but there was one Mataji who was in Prabhupada's room when he left his body. And at that moment when Prabhupada left his body, I had gotten off of, I was sitting in Prabhupada's bed next to his, and Bhakti Charu was at the head of the bed, putting little drips of Jamuna Jal on Prabhupada's lips. And the devotees, I remember Yadubara was there on a chair filming it, and Jayadaita Maharaj, and many devotees in Prabhupada's darshan room were crowded in. I got off the bed to go into the other room to speak to Tamal, to tell Tamal that he should come into the room because it's like the time. And when I left the room, Prabhupada left his body. right? And Tamal and I went running in, and Prabhupada had just left his body. So I missed that, right? And all the devotees were huge kirtan of chanting Hare Krishna. No instruments, just Hare Krishna, Krishna. It was amazing. And so some weeks later, one Mataji, God's sister, said, oh, I had a dream, Prabhupada said, that Bhavananda and Tamal's love for me was so strong I could not leave my body until they left the room. They were forcing me to stay. But it's a dream. And, you know, we like the dream, but I can't base my identity on that.
Sure you can, Bob.
Well, yeah, then I feel guilty about leaving the room. Because Tamal Krishna Maharaj and I were convinced that we could somehow help Prabhupada regain his health right up to the very last moment. Literally, the very last moment. We're convinced if we do this, we do that. You know, the Kaviraj was standing next to Bhakti Charu. You know the story of the Kaviraj? In maybe mid-October, Prabhupada said to Tamal and I, he said, last night I had a dream. A very appropriate story. I had a dream, he said, where I was treated by a Kaviraj who wore big Ramanuja tilak. You know the Ramanuja tilak with the red? He said, find me that Kaviraj.
What did he say?
Find me that Kaviraj. So we sent devotees out. Is that necessary? We sent devotees out all over Vrindavan and Mathura. No one found. And we were in contact with Adridarna, who was the president of Calcutta. And he was searching Calcutta and he found a Kaviraj. His name was Damodar Prasad. Big, tall, very handsome, striking man with big Ramanuja tilak. And he treated all the Marwadi community, which is at that time the really wealthy community of India, the Birlas and all these big names. He was their Kaviraj. So Adri brought him to Vrindavan, and Prabhupada's eyes go, oh, yes, yes. So he was treating Prabhupada, but he said, so we always went, he always gave us a report. He was living in the guest house. He would give us a report twice a day on Prabhupada's health, and he was standing next to Bhakti Charu. It was a whole tableau of, I see it in my mind's eye. And I remember Yadubara, he was on the chair in the corner, and a few days before I had asked him, I said, oh, his intimate, Prabhupada preparing to leave his body, and why are you filming all this? Because for me it was something intrusive. But I asked Prabhupada, and Prabhupada said, no, let him film everything, he said. Let him film everything. So that shut me up, and he was back in the room. And it's a good thing, because that great, what's it called?
Hare Krishna, the mantra of the movement, the Swami who started it all.
No, the other one about Prabhupada. The final lesson.
Oh, the final lesson.
Yeah. But that's also good. But that one was specifically Prabhupada's disappearance, the final lesson. So everyone was there, and everyone was crying, and everyone was chanting, and it was spiritually, transcendentally chaotic. Then something happened. I won't go into it, but certain small things started disappearing. I saw from Prabhupada's desk, because his desk was that small thing. Someone was taking things. So I kicked everyone out of the room. Because we had to prepare Prabhupada for the ceremonies that followed, where we had to dress him, well, I had to dress him actually, and put him on his palanquin, take him into the temple, because it was evening time, and we had to take him into the temple, and we put him on his Vyasasan, and all the residents of Vrindavan came from all over. All kinds of sadhus in all the hairstyles, matted locks, shaved heads, and old women and Vaishnavas, and started coming into the temple the whole night, because the word spread around Vrindavan that Bhaktivedanta Swami has left this mortal, mortal sphere. And they all came to pay their respects.
Was Prabhupada there in the temple at that time?
In the temple, yeah.
In the open casket?
That casket on his palanquin,
Oh, okay.
sitting.
Yeah.
He was sitting on the Vyasasana. And they all came, and then we put him back on his palanquin at dawn, and took him on the parikrama to the 7 major Vaishnava temples, and then placed him in the Samadhi pit. But it was it was a completely transcendental thing. All night, people were coming. So it was wonderful. However, we placed him in Samadhi, covered his body with salt. You've all seen, I'm sure, seen the film. So what are we left with? Bhaktivedanta purports. That's what we're left with. Clinging. We should be clinging to those purports. Because we felt bereft of his association, his physical, what we call physical association. That had been our whole life, all of us. All of us. It was, Prabhupada was everything for us. And so it was a difficult time, as we had to adjust. Some made it, some adjusted, some didn't adjust. Some went this way, some went that way, some went, up, some went down. But the adjustment had to be made. And very important that now we still have the Bhaktivedanta purports, so that, how many years later?
46.
46 years, yes, 17. 46 years later, I can think to myself, geez, I'm not giving Lord Chaitanya the proper credit. That I can even think I'm not giving Lord Chaitanya, that I can even mention his name, that I can even have some idea of him, is all due to Prabhupada. And I can say to myself, I really feel that there's something lacking in my Krishna conscious development, whatever it might be, that development, that something's, and I can go to the Chaitanya Charitamrita, translated by Prabhupada, and get the answer to my dilemma or my anxiety, that I'm not making enough, I'm not giving Mahaprabhu the proper understanding, but the purports are there to help me. This is a miracle. And it's not a dream. It's real. That book is real in my hand. It's not flying through the electronic air, which can come or go at any moment. Look at, what was it? What was the phone company? Optus. They couldn't get any, right? I can't make contact. I can't read my book online. Yeah. But if you have the book in your hand, you can read it. Isn't it? We can't depend on these fragile state of the world, the electronic world. Yes, it's fun. Yes, it's this. Yes, it's that. But it's fragile. What is like a drop of water on a lotus leaf? What is that? Kamala Talajala. Any moment, it rolls right off. But a book is the best. Books are best. And that is Prabhupada's great gift to the world. Right? The great gift to the world. And we have it all the time. On the shelf, it's there, take it down, open this page, that page. And amazing information. Amazing. Geez, I just read this book last week and now I'm reading it again. And look at what he says, Prabhupada says here and what he says there. New things every time you read it, isn't it? Every time. So it's never stale. It's never stale. How many times can you watch Game of Thrones? You see, once is enough, even once. But it goes stale. But transcendental knowledge coming through the via media of the Vaishnav, the pure Vaishnav, is never stale. It's always true, it's always alive, it's always vibrant, it's always unlimited realization. It is unlimited. The only thing limited is our own ability to understand and realize what Prabhupada is telling us. This is a great gift. So he reasons ill who thinks that Vaishnavas die, for thou art living still, yet in sound. So we asked Prabhupada, how is that the sound of it? He said, because I'm the sound I'm making into the dictaphone. And then that is translated onto the book. So it is sound. The printed word is sound because Prabhupada spoke it. He is the center of the Krishna consciousness movement. He is the center. And his sound is the center. More subtle, more subtle, more subtle. And our understanding, each of us individually, will have a certain understanding. But all of it transcendental. So we thank Prabhupada because it's gotten us through 46 years. Yeah, 46, and of course, all hyperbole aside, Krishna consciousness is really flourishing, especially in India. It's amazing what is happening in India. There are millions of devotees, and all over the world, it's there. Krishna consciousness. I don't have anything else. I mean, we all together want to thank Prabhupada, and that's what these days are for. Prabhupada's Appearance Day and Prabhupada's Disappearance Day. No different. It is time, it is especially days that are put aside to especially concentrate on meditating upon Prabhupada in a practical way. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada, a very practical man. Prabhupada was a very practical man. Srila Prabhupada ki jai!
Thank you so much. It's a great fortune, and how lucky are we to hear from you. And even at the time of departure, you were with Srila Prabhupada. And it's our fortune that whatever you shared is really enlightening for us. And we always feel that our love for Srila Prabhupada grows, even like a drop by drop every time we hear from you. Every year we come in here, and it's always amazing. Thank you so much. That's your humility. Thank you so much. And now I'd like to request
Ammadhyanatamandasya Ginajana Shalakana Shakshushamanatamena Tasme Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born into the deepest, darkest modes of ignorance, but my spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, has opened my eyes with the shining torchlight of transcendental knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Whenever I recite that prayer, and I think, I'm still in the deepest, darkest modes of ignorance. Yeah. And one day, maybe my eyes will open. I'm sitting here today at this temple in North Sydney due to the mercy and compassion of Bhavananda. Yeah. You're responsible. You probably forget this now, but going back to 1979 in Vrindavan, I was with Trishtajumna Swami, and we were doing a bit of a world tour at this stage. And you invited us to come down to Australia, because I'd left Australia, I hadn't any idea of coming back here. So it was on your invitation that I'm sitting here today. Otherwise I could be, who knows. So thank you, Bhavananda, because a lot of wonderful things have happened since that time. You should get a percentage.
Yes. It's because of me that we nailed you down to Australia by marrying you to Joyce.
Well, that's right. So, thank you very much, Bhavananda. Just we were telling that story about, we're so fortunate actually to have Bhavananda that he was with Prabhupada so much during the early part of this movement and was there when Prabhupada left his body. And the story that you told about you leaving the room to go and get some and in that instant Prabhupada left his body reminds me of the story of my own brother when he left his body. He had cancer and he was in his final stages, so I decided to go down to Melbourne where he lived and to sit by his bed and chant Hare Krishna as he was leaving his body. And so for quite a few hours I was chanting Hare Krishna, and I could see that he was breathing heavily and coming to the end, so my intensity in chanting was increasing. And just at that moment, talking about technology now, the phone rang. It was my mobile phone, and everybody who has a mobile phone knows that once the phone goes, you've got to answer it, right? And so I thought, I'll just duck out of the room, answer the phone, and come duck back in. So I left the room, and instantaneously my brother left. And then I heard in the room his wife and all those who were present, we heard the wails on Atmarama. Atmarama rang me at that moment. And so Bhavananda Prabhu has an encyclopedia of wonderful stories about Prabhupada, because you were with Prabhupada for like 8 years?
As a servant?
No, but when you first joined,
Yeah.
you were with Prabhupada, not constantly, but
Yeah.
very, throughout a whole period. From 65. 69 to 76. 7 years of nectar. And a few years ago I asked Bhavananda, why don't you write a book and write it all down? Now Bhavananda, we were just talking before, and he's saying the death is approaching. And so when you're gone, those stories are gone. Do it. Joyshri will finance it.
I'll become irrelevant then.
Huh?
I'll become irrelevant.
What's that?
I'll become eternal.
Oh, that's right. So I'm just asking here again, making an official request in front of all the Vaishnavas and in Srila Prabhupada to do so. Thank you. So I got a message from Nityananda Pran a few days ago, inviting me to come to the Prabhupada's Disappearance Day, but I was thinking Prabhupada really hasn't disappeared, isn't it? He's always with us at every moment, because when you look around at every single person here, at every atom, everything, and when you go to the Vyasasana to offer obeisances, Prabhupada is there. He's never left. He's always there at every moment, because we're surrounded by Prabhupada. At every instant, everything is Prabhupada. And so Prabhupada is always with us at every moment. And Prabhupada said that I never die with my devotees, with my disciples, my devotees who follow my instruction. I live with them eternally. And so like Bhavananda has been telling us now for many years about the Bhaktivedanta purports and their importance. For decades now, he keeps stressing on the Bhaktivedanta purports, which are essential and very important because, as you've said in the past, that's the heart of Prabhupada. That's Prabhupada's heart, his purports. So by reading the purports, Prabhupada is always with us at every moment. And so I have to confer with Bhavananda Prabhu there that how important these purports are, because all knowledge is contained within those books. And as Bhavananda was pointing it out, at any moment technology can fail. When you study what's happening in the world today, we know that it's coming and technology won't be there. So what have we got? Prabhupada's books. And that's why Prabhupada always stressed on book distribution. And we have this big marathon coming up now for a worldwide marathon to distribute the Srimad Bhagavatam sets. And they've really set the bar very high. And it's a worldwide phenomena. And devotees are really now intensely concentrating on distributing hundreds of thousands of Prabhupada's Srimad Bhagavatam. I was just watching the film, Yadava's film, on Prabhupada, the mantra of the movement, the Swami who started it all. And Prabhupada was saying at the beginning of the film that my mission was to start a temple here in New York City. That was my mission, he said, when he first came to New York. Today, we have, I've lost count, I don't know if you know, Bhav, but over 700 temples in ISKCON. And you were mentioning India especially. When I was first in India, and I'm sure you were there as well, there was one small temple in a house in Delhi. And how many temples in Delhi are there today? How many? I heard there was 20, 25. That was last week, there was 12, right? So Prabhupada's mission was to establish one temple here in New York City. Now worldwide in ISKCON we have over 700 temples. And they're all established by Prabhupada, because Prabhupada is fueling this movement and will for the next 10,000 years at least. And how fortunate we are that we have Prabhupada. What a great fortune that is. Because without Prabhupada, what are we? We're a million zeros, but without the one. Prabhupada is the one. He gives value to everything that we do. And we owe a great debt to Srila Prabhupada. Because without him, we're nothing. And whatever we do amounts to nothing. Because we die and we don't take it with us. So what great fortune it is that we have Prabhupada in our life, because he's the one that makes everything worthwhile. Everything worthwhile. And what he's done is impossible. You were talking about Lord Chaitanya before. How could he be God? But how would it be possible for what Prabhupada did? He came to New York City with $7 in his pocket. No friends, no contacts virtually. And struggled for years, no money. And in that film of Yadava, I like that line when Prabhupada said, I came to New York City without any money, without any friends, without anything. Practically like a vagabond. I was roaming on the streets of New York. And from this vagabond, with $7, which very quickly I'm sure was spent, with virtually nothing, this whole empire is now created. And it's all Prabhupada's mercy, channeling the mercy from Krishna. And this is driving the movement forward. We're talking 700 temples now, or thereabouts. In 100 years, how many temples? In 1,000 years, millions of temples. And it's all because of Prabhupada's mercy. It's all coming from Prabhupada. It's all being manifested by Prabhupada. And from us, for our direct disciples, for grand disciples, we owe such a debt to Prabhupada that we will never be able to repay it. Doesn't matter what we do, we will never be able to repay the debt, what Prabhupada has given us. But all we can do is try our best to repay it. It's a loan, but it'll never be able to be repaid. But how do we try to repay the debt? By surrendering our lives to helping Prabhupada manifest his vision for the re-spiritualization of the whole planet. Prabhupada's initial mission was one temple in New York City, but that was just the beginning. The ultimate vision is to actually spread the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, Krishna, throughout the globe and create a golden age. It's already prophesied in the Vedic texts. And Prabhupada is the one that's spearheading the golden age which is coming. And we're in the West and we think, boy, life's tough. Making devotees amongst the Western community is really tough. And sometimes you start thinking, I don't know whether I can continue doing this. It's just too tough. It's hard. But then you reflect and think, then you go back to Prabhupada and you think, you've got it tough? That's nothing in comparison to what Prabhupada had. Struggled for years, 2 years. New York City in the middle of winter. Not a very nice place to be. Prabhupada struggled. So when you reflect upon Prabhupada's struggle, then our puny troubles and difficulties fade away, and then you get regained confidence again to go on with Prabhupada's mission. And that's the debt that we all have to Prabhupada, is to surrender our life, our words, our mind, our bodies, to help Prabhupada in his mission to make the whole world Krishna conscious. Prabhupada's mercy coming through from Lord Krishna, Lord Chaitanya. Prabhupada is channeling this mercy. Prabhupada said, I don't have any mercy to give, but I am just channeling the mercy of Lord Krishna, Lord Chaitanya. I spend a lot of time now at New Gokul, up in the country, and there's lots of animals there. I have a farm, there's about 50 kangaroos, and there's rabbits and everybody else, and every time I see a kangaroo, I think, but for the mercy of my spiritual master, there go I. And a little rabbit scampers across the road, but for the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, there goes I. So like that. So we have to see where we're at now and the great fortune we have because of Prabhupada's presence. Mission impossible. And on Sunday we have Govardhan Puj, where Lord Krishna, at the age of 7, lifts this mountain to protect all the residents of Vrindavan. But in comparison to what Prabhupada's done, that pales into insignificance. We think, oh, that was impossible. Krishna can do anything. But what Lord Chaitanya, Lord Srila Prabhupada has done, it's impossible. People will not believe that story is an impossible story, but we know it happened. Mission impossible is now manifested. All glories to Prabhupada, and all glories to all of you, and to everybody that is pushing on this movement. And Prabhupada wanted us to cooperate and love one another. Isn't it? We have to love one another. Because Prabhupada did say, the degree that you demonstrate your love for me will be the degree that you can cooperate together. So therefore we all are one family. we're Prabhupada's family. And we should all cooperate together, befriend one another, and work together in an unpolitical environment to push on Prabhupada's mission to make the whole world Krishna conscious. And Prabhupada, he can do it. The track record is there. We've seen what he's done already, and so we can see that actually this will come to pass as prophesied in the Vedic texts. All glories to Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you so much, His Pratapna Prabhu. Now I would like to invite Her Grace Prashruti Mataji to share her realizations. Would you
Hare Krishna. So nice to see you all here today. In fact, I usually can't appear for Srila Prabhupada's disappearance because they usually have the program in the evening, and I just am not capable. I'm so upset. It's like such an agony for me. But anyway, this time it's in the morning and Prabhupada hasn't disappeared yet on that day, so I'm here. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pastaya Bhutsale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Chinamane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvasesha Sunyavadi Paskaja Deshatarine Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Yeah, I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. Thank you, Srila Prabhupada. I must confess that I'm still learning. I've been a devotee for 40-something years and I'm still learning, and I love it. It's such an invigorating experience to be on a path of always finding more nectar. It's just wonderful. So I would like to mention a few things. Okay, I was in Vrindavan with my husband and 2 children just before Srila Prabhupada left his body. We went there hoping to see him again, but by the time we got there, we were in Mayapur, and we did see Prabhupada in Mayapur before he went up to Vrindavan. He still gave some classes and used to go for the greetings and ring the bell and stuff like that. It was great. And then we went to, then Prabhupada left and he went to Vrindavan. And so my husband and I, we also went up to Vrindavan, and fortunately they gave us accommodation and we were there. And then there was this rather, it was a tragedy actually happened. And from a material point of view, it was a tragedy. There was a French family living there in Vrindavan at the same time as well, and they had a little 12-year-old daughter, and I was told by several people that she was retarded, but I never saw her as retarded. She was actually a bliss ball, she was so amazing, and she was naughty, you could say. She was naughty. If you were her mother, you'd say she was naughty, but she wasn't really. She was just in ecstasy. And apparently she'd been asking in France, she'd been asking her mother for a few years before they got there, when are we going to Vrindavan, when are we going to Vrindavan? So anyway, now they were in Vrindavan, and Srila Prabhupada was ill, and the Matajis weren't allowed so much into his quarters to see him, but the Prabhus, they went, and there was chanting and everything going on. Anyway, the one morning, it was prasad time, and I couldn't find my daughter to go for prasad. I didn't know where she was, but I had a little boy, so I had to go feed him. And I took a plate of prasad for my daughter, and I was going back to the room, and there, just outside our room, I saw my daughter, and she wasn't looking she was looking a bit weird. I didn't know what was the matter. But anyway, we went in, and I sat her down, and I told her she must eat her prasad, but she didn't want to eat. So I actually force-fed her a few mouthfuls, and the next thing she starts vomiting. So, I kind of just did what mothers do, for their little kids, and I dealt with it. And the next thing, this other Mataji was banging on my door, and she was saying, did you find your daughter? I said, yes. So she said, well, my daughter also came back, and now I don't know what's wrong with her, but I need to find a doctor. Can you come and watch my daughter while I go? Because her husband was out. My husband was at the room, so he could look after my children, our children, and then I went and looked after her child. So I went there, and the child was foaming at the mouth, and her limbs were flailing. She had no proper control, and she was like, her eyes were weird and stuff. Anyway, so then, as soon as the mother had let me in and said, there's the child, please watch her, and off she ran again. And the child had vomited on her clothing, and it was a terrible smell, So anyway, I didn't know the lady very well, so I didn't know where she kept the child's clothing, but there was a chadar on the couch, so I decided I was going to remove her dirty clothes because the vomit was really bad smell, and I wrapped her up in the chadar. So I'm sitting there holding her now because she had no proper physical control, and then the mother comes back and she says, I can't find anyone, I can't find a doctor, I can't find anyone. Excuse me. So I said to her, well, perhaps we should give the child some water. Now, I wouldn't have done it the same way she did it. To be honest, I really wouldn't have. But the way she did it was quite remarkable. She went and filled a tall glass with water to close to this child's flailing, She fills it close to the top of the glass with water. And she sits down in front of the child and she passes the glass to her like this. And remarkably enough, the child's one hand went onto the glass, and then the other hand went onto the glass, and she poured this glass of water down her throat, and she didn't spill a drop. And then she fell back into my arms, and the glass went bash, crash against the wall, broken. And the mother freaked out, jumped up and ran out again. And I just started chanting Hare Krishna. I looked on the ceiling. I couldn't see her there, but she wasn't in her body anymore. I just was chanting Hare Krishna now. So next thing, she arrives back with a bunch of brahmacharis, or I don't know, prabhus. I don't know what level they were at, but it was all males, and they were all jabbering and carrying on, and she was, also carrying on. And at some point, after a few minutes, I said, look, she's left her body, I suggest you start chanting Hare Krishna. And turns out what had happened was, because she didn't have proper muscular control, when she poured that glass of water down her throat, she drowned. The water went into her lungs and she just died, like that. And so I would have given her a little sip of water. I wouldn't have given a child in that condition a whole glass full of water. I mean, really. But she was the mother. I didn't feel I had the right to sort of correct her at the time. But anyhow, next thing, okay, so they did this. They put her they got sand, and then they got a kusha grass mat, and they laid her all on that, and it was like a 3-day ceremony of chanting 24 hours a day. They chanted, and then we carried her. Well, I followed the group. We went down to I suppose it was the Yamuna, but I can't be sure. But we went to a river, and we put her in the river. She was pre-puberty, so that age, you are allowed to still put them in the river. And that was it. Everyone went back home. And then this gossip business started. According to, I had murdered her child. And it was getting like more and more voracious, you know, like they were, people were, it was like quite scary really. I had murdered her child. And so I said to my husband, look, actually, Prabhupada's leaving his body, and that's what people should be meditating on, and you know, that should be the center of consciousness, not this child who's left her body. And anyway, Prabhupada said that she was personally liberated. And I believe that because her mother had previously told me, you know, that you know, she's been wanting to come to Vrindavan for years already. And her mother had given her a picture of Radha and Krishna, who had belonged to another child who had been there, or maybe it was a Mataji, I'm not sure, but someone who was dying of cancer had this same picture of the deities of Radha and Krishna, beautiful picture. And so she'd had that when she was preparing for her death. And she had died, and then this picture was given to this child. So, you know, there were all these different little details. You know, I must say one thing about this child before we carry on to the next stage. This child was so amazing. She would go around and she would find a banana leaf, or maybe even just a big rubber tree leaf, or just a piece of paper if she couldn't find anything else. And then she would pick flowers, super delicate, beautiful flowers. I'm sure you've seen them. They can't possibly be used to string on a garland because the petals are so fine. And then she would arrange them, and then she would walk around with this, on the paper, she would walk around, and whoever would hear her, you know, she would say, look, I made a garland for Balaram. Or look, I made a garland for Radha. You know, like this, she was just this blissful. She would be, and her mother used to get so cross if they had to go to Loy Bazaar. On the way, every now and then, she would just throw herself on the ground and roll in the dust. So the mother forced her, this little 12-year-old child, her mother forced her to wash her saris. And the shower was a 1 meter square room, and you're standing in there, and the window is so high, you can't see out of it. It just gives a little bit of light in there. And the mother closes her in this room. Every day she has to wash this blooming sari. She could have been wearing other kinds of clothing at that age, but no, she had to wear a sari according to her mother. And so that same day that she died, before the mother came and called me, she had not given her breakfast. She had locked her in the room, in the shower room, to wash her sari. So, you know, really, it wasn't my fault that that child died, but Prabhupada said she was personally liberated, and I believe that because she was actually a great devotee. She was always inspiring people to love Radha, Krishna, and Lord Balaram. Okay, so I said to my husband, look, please let's go. I can't bear it that these people are thinking this nonsense and not and being distracted from the big issue, which is that Prabhupada's leaving. So we left. And the next thing, a couple of weeks later, maybe 3 weeks later, we were staying in an ashram, and right next door to the ashram we were staying in, there was, what's his name, Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. He teaches transcendental meditation. He had an ashram. And then one of his students saw us walking in the bazaar, and he said, you know that your Guru Maharaj has left? And we said, no, we didn't know. And which day did he leave? And it turns out that the evening that Srila Prabhupada left his body, we were sitting in our little, we rented a room from another ashram because it was off season, so usually the place would be full up with pilgrims going up to the source of the Ganges, because it was at the foothills of the Himalayas. But because it was off season, the tourists weren't coming through, so we managed to get a room. And every night we would put the children to sleep, to bed and sleep, and then we would sit on the little courtyard space that we had, and my husband would read to me, and I would stitch clothes for our little deities, and it was getting colder and colder, so we were having to wrap up, because really it was getting freezing. And there was one night, it wasn't cold at all. Neither of us had a jacket, or I didn't even, not even a shawl on. It was like, in English there's a word balmy, where the weather is just so comfortable. You just feel so, who knows the meaning of the word balmy? What's another word for it? Do any of you know the meaning of the word balmy? You do? You know it? Okay, because it was just so delicious. It was amazing. And it turns out that's the evening that Prabhupada left his body. And I therefore had the realization that when he left his body, he was no longer confined, which in a way that's how it had been. He had been confined. He'd been always, when you're in your body, you can't just be everywhere. We all experience that, And Prabhupada, in the last few months of his life, because he was ill, he was even more confined, because he couldn't even go on Govardhan Puja, Govardhan Parikram, for Govardhan celebration. And so that evening he left his body. It was like he came out into the world as this wonderful experience, this wonderful feeling. He was there to soothe the whole world. And so that's my personal experience of Srila Prabhupada leaving. And I wanted to share that. I haven't really shared that properly before, because in a way I thought that if I speak it out, then it will lose some of the internal impact that it has. And, gradually as the years gone by, I've been able to share little bits of personal experiences I had with Srila Prabhupada, and they didn't really lose their impact. So now today I thought, and funny enough, I was thinking I will share that, because I didn't want to write it all down, because when you write stuff down it becomes stiff. And because of what the other two Prabhus have said, I thought this is actually the perfect time to share it, because basically Srila Prabhupada, when he left his body, he didn't leave us. He actually became available to us everywhere. And when we read his books and the purports, Srila Prabhupada translated the Sanskrit. He didn't speak the Sanskrit. He spoke the purports. And the purports are so full of so much nectar, and so much is explained, and so much is relevant for our lives, that basically by reading the purports we're having very close contact. Because Prabhupada didn't, sometimes he said he spent a few hours trying to find exactly the right word to put in his sentences, so that they gave the exact right meaning. So I wanted to share that. And then there was something else. I'm just trying to remember what. Unfortunately, I got so absorbed in my Vrindavan experience, I have now lost the other thing I wanted to say. So never mind. Next year is another year. We can share it then. But basically, thank you very much, Prabhus, for what you shared. Very nectarine. And I'm so grateful for you all being here to celebrate Srila Prabhupada's disappearance, because his disappearance was actually his worldwide appearance. And now, because people all over the world are buying his books and stuff, we can see that people all over the world are interested in what Srila Prabhupada has to say. And you know that when he got to New York, he says, what he did was he just sat under the tree and chanted Hare Krishna. And that's actually how people started getting attracted to him. And so if we do that, if we just chant Hare Krishna, possibly find a nice place where we can sit, where people can join us. Because if we're just walking down the road chanting Hare Krishna, then nobody can really join us. But if we find a nice place to sit, then people can come and join us, join in the chanting. And in that way, we can feel the blessing of Srila Prabhupada even stronger on us, because that's exactly what he did. Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Thank you so much, Hare Krishna Stuti Mataji. So soon we will have Puspanjali and Srila Prabhupada's Aarti. So if any of you want to offer your offering to Srila Prabhupada, then please do raise your hand. We might have time for a few offerings now, one or two, couple of minutes.
Can I tell a few stories?
Yes, sure.
About Prabhupada? Mataji mentioned two words that brought two stories to mind. One was confined, and one was available. So I have a nice story about Prabhupada and the word confined. When we flew from Nairobi to Bombay in 1971, it was Diwali evening. And when we got to the airport in Bombay, Shyamasundar had forgotten Prabhupada's yellow fever vaccination card. If you came from a country anywhere in Africa, to enter India you had to have a yellow fever certificate. You had to get a vaccination, and he got a vaccination, by the way, for all those COVID anti-vax people. Prabhupada got his vaccination in Calcutta before he left on the Jaladuta, and the certificate is good for 10 years. Anyway, Shyamasundar left it in Nairobi, so Prabhupada was put in the quarantine building on the Bombay airport. Nice building, colonial style, with a long veranda and nice rooms and a long veranda, but it was all screened in. So I had my certificate, but I stayed with Prabhupada in the quarantine. So that night my room was next to Prabhupada's, and they all had windows out onto this veranda. So it must have been 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm sound asleep, but I hear this voice, Bhavanand, Bhavanand, right? Coming out from the spiritual sky, I guess, Bhavanand. I woke up, it was Prabhupada at the window calling my name. So I went out, paid my obeisances, and I said, yes, Prabhupada, how can I help you? He said, just now, he said, I went to go out into the garden. There was a nice garden in front of the building. But he said they would not allow me to go out. The idea was, if you have no proof that you got your vaccination against yellow fever, you might be carrying it. And if a mosquito in India bit you, it would become contaminated by the yellow fever or whatever it is, and it would bite someone else and so on, and that way. So that's why everything was screened in, and Prabhupada had to stay there for a week. So Prabhupada, I'm Prabhupada standing up, I'm on my knees and looking up, and he said, just now, I went to go out into the garden to chant, and they would not allow. They would not allow. He said, do something. I said, Prabhupada, no, do something. I said, Prabhupada, what can I do? It's 2 o'clock in the morning. Everyone's asleep. He said, if I am not able to go for my walk, I will lose my appetite. If I lose my appetite, I will grow weak and die. Do something. I said, Prabhupada, there's nothing I can do. He said, all my life, even as a child, I did not like to be confined. Right? I said, Prabhupada will do something first thing everyone comes, because he could have visitors. And then Prabhupada, he was angry. Then when I said that, all right, he said, come, let us chant. So we just chanted back and forth on this long veranda. So that was, he didn't like to be confined as a child. And availability, of course, in Prabhupada's room in Vrindavan, we kept tight control of it. However, Prabhupada, anyone could go into Prabhupada's room and sit quietly on the floor, and there was always a kirtan going on with those little, there was one pair of those little kartals, and someone was always chanting in a very soft voice. Prabhupada didn't want anything loud, chanting Hare Krishna, and you could just sit there. But, going up to Prabhupada, touching, these are unheard of things. However, we were always massaging Prabhupada's leg, or we'd be rubbing his head. But one day, just a few days before he passed away, one brahmachari came up and started massaging Prabhupada's leg. And then another one came and started massaging Prabhupada's foot. And of course, I'm a bit of a control freak. I started getting, but Prabhupada didn't say anything. He was just lying there. Then another one came and started massaging his other foot. Then another one came and started massaging his, and then someone started rubbing his head, and then another. Suddenly, his whole body, his arms, his hands, his legs, his feet, his head, were all being massaged by all these brahmacharis. It was like bees, a bunch of bees taking pollen, honey from the lotus flower. He was surrounded by these. He made himself completely available. He never said a word. Anyone, at that moment, anyone could come and massage his body. And he was just lying there, looking at I presume, at Krishna, and he was completely available to everyone. Yeah. Anyway, I just thought you'd like those little stories. Oh, and one other thing. When Prabhupada came with the $7, right? That's true. But he also had all right, 14 rupees or 11 rupees, I had been told. But then, no, that's not the point of my story. My story is he also had another trunk of Srimad Bhagavatams. And that's how he sold those books. right from the very beginning.
Um, yeah, it's really nice to hear all these pastimes, and we don't want this day to end, but we have limitations. So before we wrap up, I'll just share a few of the letters that Srila Prabhupada wrote, just like in few sentences, so that we can remember him. So it's a letter written to Uddhava in 68, 3rd of May. Please accept my blessings. I'm just in receipt of your letter forwarded from New York. Please be happy in separation. I'm separated from my Guru Maharaj since 1936, but I'm always with him. So long, I work according to his direction. So we should all work together for satisfying Lord Krishna, and in that way the feelings of separation will transform into transcendental bliss. So how Srila Prabhupada is giving by his example, he's teaching us that yes, as long as we follow the instructions and we do what he's asked us to do, which is basically chanting our rounds properly and following 4 regulative principles and being compassionate and spreading the holy name in whatever capacity that we have, that will please him. And there is one more. Sorry. Okay, so this one is from His Holiness Tamal Krishna Maharaj's diary, Prabhupada's final days. So today we received word that Janananda Prabhu had given up his body. When Srila Prabhupada was informed, he said, yes, sooner or later we must all go. Afterwards, tears came to His Divine Grace's eyes. He was one of my best disciples. He was the first to give me $5,000, which was used for printing teaching of Lord Chaitanya's book. He used to drive me in the car, and while driving he used to chant. So even Srila Prabhupada, so this is where he shared that grieving at the loss of somebody is not bad. So Srila Prabhupada is also grieving. So I was just trying to not guilt trip myself for celebrating this day, still in the mode of separation. And there's one more letter. This one I could not. Okay, I was saying that even Srila Prabhupada also cried for the departure of his disciples. And so sometimes I used to think always, I'm always crying this day. Okay, it's a little far. So when you left, when you left us, I simply, so this letter is to one of his disciples who left Krishna consciousness. So Srila Prabhupada is expressing his pain in this letter. When you left us, I simply prayed to Krishna for your return to Krishna consciousness because that was my duty. Any good soul who approaches me once for spiritual enlightenment is supposed to be depending on my responsibility to get him back to Krishna, back to whom the disciple may misunderstand a bona fide spiritual master, being obliged to do so under pressure of Maya's influence. But a bona fide spiritual master never lets go a devotee once accepted. When a disciple misunderstands a bona fide spiritual master, the master regrets for his inability to protect the disciple, and sometimes he cries with tears in his eyes. Srila Prabhupada's letter, November 23, 1967. So from this letter, yes, we all have a responsibility, and as His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaj always made his disciple take a vow, a 5th one, after following the 4 regulative principle, that never leave ISKCON. So every single one of us, if we ever do something that is against Srila Prabhupada's desire, it is going to hurt him. And for what he has done to us, I don't think we have any capacity, or we are very insignificant. That we're very fortunate to be in the Sampradaya and reading Srila Prabhupada's book and getting his mercy, and even very fortunate to hear from all his disciples directly the association and the pastimes that they've had opportunity to spend with Srila Prabhupada. and we would always relish this nectar. And now I would like to continue to the second part of the program. So we will have the garland offerings first and then Puspanjali, and we'll do the Aarti of Srila Prabhupada. And
Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Oh Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Oh Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Oh Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Saradhavananalitaloka Tranaya Karunya Gana Ganatvam Saradhavananalitaloka Tranaya Karunya Gana Samsaradava Nanavitaloka Pranaya Karunya Gana Ganadvam Nanavitaloka Pranaya Karunya Gana Ganadvam Praptasya Kalyana Gunanavasya Vande Guru Shri Charanara Vindam Praptasya Kalyana Gunanavasya Vande Guru Shri Mahaprabhu Ki Tananitra Gita Vaditra Matyan Manasura Sena Mahaprabhu Ki Tananitra Gita Vaditra Madhyam Manasura Senam Romanshakam Pashutaranga Bhajo Vande Guru Shri Charanara Vindam Jakam Pashutaranga Bhajo Vande Guru Shri Charanara Vindam Shri Vigrahara Dhananitranana Shringaratan Mandiramarjanato Shri Vigrahara Dhananitranana Shringaratan Mandiramarjanato Yuktasya Bhaktam Saniyunjatopi Vande Guru Shri Charanara Vindam Yuktasya Bhaktam Saniyunjatopi Vande Guru Shri Charanara Chaturvida Shri Bhagavad Prasado Sadhana Triptan Haribhakta Sangam Chaturvida Shri Bhagavad Prasado Sadhana Triptan Haribhakta Kritaiva Triptim Bhajaga Sadaiva Vande Guru Shri Charanara Vindam Kritaiva Triptim Bhajaga Sadaiva Vande Guru Shri Radhika Madhavayurapara Madhurya Leela Gunarupanam Nam Shri Radhika Madhavayurapara Madhurya Leela Gunarupanam Nam Pratikshana Dhanalodupasya Vande Guru Shri Charanara Vindam Pratikshana Dhanalodupasya Vande Guru Shri Nikunjayo no Radhikeli Jai Yayali Viryo Tirabhikeshaniyam Nikunjayo no Radhikeli Jai Yayali Viryo Tirabhikeshaniyam Tatra Vitaksha Divallabhasya Vande Guru Shri Charanara Vindam Tatra Vitaksha Divallabhasya Vande Guru Shri Sakshadharidvena Samasta Shastrai Yuktasya Tava Vyataiva Sadhi Sakshadharidvena Advaitena Samasta Shastre Yukasya Tavavyadare Kintu Prabhoya Priya Eva Dasya Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam Kintu Prabhoya Vande Guru Shri Yasya Prasadat Bhagavad Prasado Yasya Prasadat Nagati Kutopi Yasya Prasadat Bhagavad Prasado Yasya Prasadat Yasya Prasadat Bhagavad Prasado Yasya Prasadat Nagati Kutopi Yasya Prasadat Bhagavad Prasado Yasya Prasadat Jayantu Vamsasya Yasya Sri Sangyam Vande Guru Shri Charanara Vindam Jayantu Vamsasya Yasya Sri Sangyam Vande Guru Shri Charanara Vindam Vande Guru Shri Charanara Vindam Vande Guru Shri Charanara Vindam Shri Charanara Vindam Vande Guru Shri Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimante Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nivishesha Sunyavadi Pashatya Desha Dharine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nivishesha Sunyavadi Pashatya Desha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhattavinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhattavinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Patita Pavana Prabhupada, Jaya Patita Pavana Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada Ashtotra Sutta Shishi Shimat. His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. ISKCON BBG Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki. Srila Prabhupada Tribhavati Ki. Jai Srila Prabhupada Acharya Ashtotra Sutta Shishi Shimat. His Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Srila Prabhupada Ki. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki. प्रेम से कहो जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंद की श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की वृंदावन मथुरा धाम की मायापुर नवद्वीप धाम की जगन्नाथपुरी क्षेत्र की भक्ति देवी तुलसी महारानी की गंगा माँ यमुना माया की समवेद गौर भक्त वृंद की Srila Prabhupada Transcendental Book Distribution Prasadam Distribution की Hari Naam Sankirtan की Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki. Nidai go Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. Pralada Lada Daine. Pralada Lada Daine. Hiranya Kashi Purvasaha. Anya Kashi Purvasaha. Hiranya Kashi Purvasaha. Shila Tangana Kalaye. Shila Tangana Kalaye. Ito Narsimha Parato Narsimho. Ito Narsimha Parato Narsimho. Yato Yato Yamitato Narsimha. Yato Yato Yamitato Narsimha. Pahi Narsimho, Hridaye Narsimho, Narsimho, Hridaye Pahi Narsimho, Hridaye Narsimho, Pahi Narsimho, Hridaye Narsimho, Nirsimha Madim Sharanam Prapade. Nirsimha Mahamadin Sharanam Prapade. Tavakara Kamalavarena Kamakuta Shinga Davita Hiranyakashipu Kanuvenga Keshavadita Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Kavakara Kamalavare Nagama Sudashinga Dalita Hiranyakashipu Danuringa Keshavadrita Narahari Rupam Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Narsingadev Jaya Narsingadev Jaya Narsingadev Jaya Narsingadev Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Nrsimhadev Bhagwan ki, Prahlad Maharaj ki jai. Sridhar Prabhu, can you start singing? Sing it. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Damodara Shri Radhe. Jaya Radha Damodara Shri Radhe. Jaya Jagannath Ka, Baladeva Jaya Subhadrama. Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai. Jaya Gaurnitai, Jaya Gaurnitai. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada, Jaya Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada, Jaya Srila Prabhupada. Nitai Gora Haribol, 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 Gora Haribol. Nitai Gora Haribol, 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 Nitai Gora Haribol. Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada Pajita Bhavana Ke Nitai Gaura Premanande.
people. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, bolo bolo, Hare Krishna, Jai Prabhupada. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare
Bit faster, bit faster.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Krishna Prasad ki jai. Vishnu Prasad ki jai.